We just completed our...
You're supposed to do that to start.
Yeah.
Like how you can sync out the audio and everything.
I'm not... It's already synced up to the camera. I don't have to sync up anything.
Oh.
What do you mean? Don't
This is what I don't know.
We just completed...
Focus. Lock in.
We just completed Ironman 70.3 in Louisville, Kentucky, and we wanted to do a little race recap with you guys. So we're just going to talk a little bit about our recap, and then we have some questions that some of you guys asked us over on Instagram. So we are super excited just to dive in with you guys. This is a super cool feat that we both did together. It was so fun being able to do it together and just being able to train over the last 6 to 9 months. So we are just super excited to dive in. So we'll start off with race morning. We both got up at what, 4 o'clock?
We
got up at 4 o'clock. I got up and I had some chocolate electrolytes just to be able to get some electrolytes in. It was hot chocolate, so good. Tried to spend some time with the Lord, ate a good breakfast, and then we tried to be out the door by 5 o'clock. Transition opened at 5 o'clock. We were like 10 minutes away from the race start. And so we wanted to make sure that we were there at a good time just to be able to get everything set up and everything like that. Mm-hmm. What did your race morning look like?
Actually, I'm trying to remember what I had for breakfast. I can't remember.
I know I had protein pancakes.
Protein pancakes. Okay. So I had 3 protein pancakes, and I just had them plain, no syrup or anything. Kodiak
pancakes the morning of, and I made them the day before just so we didn't have to worry about anything race morning. Pretty much just popped them in the microwave and we were good to go.
So I had those 3 pancakes and then a protein bar. And then I was chilled. Everything was ready to go night before. That was a big part of it.
Yes, so we got all of our water bottles, all of our nutrition, everything ready to go the night before, put them in the fridge so they'd be nice and cold, and had that all ready the night before so we didn't have to worry about anything except pretty much just getting stuff in the car ready to go.
Just woke up, stretched,
yep,
got in the Bible, and ate some pancakes on the way to the transition. It was
and
a great morning.
We went to transition, and whenever we got there, all the race nerves kind of kick in, and it was
when
real.
You start walking your bike through, it says like Ironman Village, and you walk through that little tunnel thing. It gets real. It gets very real.
So super exciting. Like, I had been through this once before, and it was just so fun to have him, and then my father-in-law was there too. So it was just so fun to have them there. So we went in all our nutrition on our bikes and everything like that, aired up our tires. Everyone tried to get a good old poop in before the race. All those porta potties before the race smell horrible. Oh my gosh, it was so bad because of course everyone is trying to get their morning poop in. And
not as bad as mid-race though, whenever people miss the toilet. There wasn't a porta potty that didn't have streaks or throw up or crying, all sorts of different fluids just everywhere. You open it up and it's just...
Sorry, team, but basically got everything set in transition. It is a downriver swim, so we had to walk 1.2 miles down to where the swim start is at. Pro started at 6:55. That's when the pro men started. I think pro women started at 7. And then all the age groupers, which is what we are, obviously, we started at 7:10. So there's 1,500 people, I think, that did this race around 1,500 to 1,800. I can't remember how many people ended up racing. But we didn't get in the water, I think, until closer to 7:40.
It was around then.
7:40. So we obviously had to wait in line. I feel like we were not in the middle. I'd say a little bit behind the middle, but definitely on the back of the pack. There were still quite a few people behind us, quite a few people in front of us. So it just took us some time to get in the water. But we got in the water at about 7:40. And for me, I'll go ahead and say my side of the swim, and then I'll let him go his side of the swim. This swim, honestly, was challenging for me for a couple of reasons. Because one, I ran into so many people, or so many people were running into me. It was so much worse than my one that I did last year. And that honestly stressed me out a little bit. It's just kind of stressful, like running into people and just having people hit you and things like that. And it wasn't like horrible, but it was definitely like, oh my goodness, so many people I'm just around so many people, and it can just be a little stressful. That's the stressfulness of open water swimming. And the other problem was I literally could not see out of my goggles. And so I was trying to see the buoys and trying to see forward, and I could not see. So that was a big struggle for me. So I couldn't really tell if there's a person in front of me. I was like trying to see if there's a swim cap in front of me, and I couldn't tell. And so that was stressing me out, because if I was trying to go around someone, I couldn't really see, or if I knew someone was like maybe about to hit me if I was passing them. So that was definitely a struggle. So I'm definitely trying to look into better goggles. I've actually been using the ones that he has been using. They're Tri-Fit Athletic. They're really good. So I'll probably use those for my next race. The swim was definitely a little bit nerve-wracking for me, but when I got out of the water, all of our swims were so much better than we thought they were going to be, which was so awesome. I was hoping for 45 minutes, but like in my mind, I was really hoping for like 42, 43, around that, or a little less than that. And I got out of the water in 38 minutes. So that was super exciting, and 12-minute PR from last year when I did my race. So that was just super exciting, and just getting out of the water on that high, seeing 38 minutes was so awesome. Under 40 was just absolutely crazy. So I was super excited. It went way better than I thought it was going to go. Still had its challenges. So that's kind of how the swim went for me.
Yeah, going into the swim, I definitely had the most nerves going into the swim. because we had done a sprint triathlon earlier that year and trying to like prepared for this one, get a feel for the vibe of the race, the transitions and all that. And it was only a 300-yard swim for a sprint triathlon. And the water was like 68 degrees, 67
Cold,
degrees,
yeah.
which I heard that temperature and I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Anyways, long story short, I dove into the water, had a panic attack. I lost my breath. My heart rate was super high. I almost didn't complete the 300-yard swim. So that was a big reality check for me. So I was expecting to have the same sensation coming into this swim whenever I hit the water. And I think it was just the coldness because this water temperature was like, what, 80 something?
Yeah, I will say, if you look at anyone's post from this race, any of the pros or anything like that, they will all say this is the hottest water that they've ever raced in. It was like 85 degrees.
It was warm bath water.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was warm.
was.
It was fine. I didn't mind it, but I would have definitely loved it to be a little bit cooler. It would have been nice.
I thought it was great.
I didn't mind it. Like all these other pros who are just used to better water were complaining because they were like, it was so hot. It wasn't super hot to me. I think I would have enjoyed it to be a little bit cooler, but I didn't mind it that much.
Well, it took the shock factor out. You hit the water and it didn't your body didn't have to adapt to it at all. Like you just went in and you started. And so I think that helped me a lot. I also just had like supernatural peace when I hit the water. I was telling her about this. I was just like, I was kind of freaking out before the water. You hear all these horror stories about people swimming, getting kicked in the face, goggles getting knocked off. It's just like, so I'm going into this, I'm going to drown. Someone's going to fight me. I didn't know what to expect. So I was praying a lot before I hit in the water. And as soon as I was actually so nervous that when the buzzer was doing the countdown, I missed my buzzer. So every 3 seconds, another swimmer goes. Whenever I was supposed to go in, I missed it. And so I was so nervous. But man, as soon as I hit the water, it really was like a supernatural peace came over me. And my swim experience was actually a lot different from yours. Mine was super easy, super chill the whole time. I was expecting to be in the water for an hour. I think you were expecting me to be in the water for an hour too.
I was expecting around 55 minutes, I think, because that's just what we had talked about for his swim time was for it to be around that time. So.
I was out of the water 45 minutes exactly.
That was so exciting. I had been in transition for a couple minutes because we were going to try to do the rest of the race together. I see him coming over into transition. I was like, oh my gosh, no way. He literally already finished, which was so exciting.
I saw my watch. I was like, let's go. Here we go.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was game on for sure. I had a huge adrenaline dump whenever I got out of the water and I saw the time. I was like, all right. And I felt good too. It wasn't something like, I wish I would have pushed myself more on the swim because of how clean it felt. I don't know. It was the easiest time I ever had swimming. I never felt like that in the pool or any open water swimming prior to. So it was good.
That's awesome. I remember this feeling from whenever I did my first 70.3 last year. Is just the swimming factor can be so scary because it's just so different swimming with a ton of people, just the 1.2 mile swim in a lake or a river or something like that. It's just really intimidating. And so I think just having that high of getting out of the water is the best. It's literally the best. So that just made us super excited to go onto the bike. And the bike course, it's so funny because so many people were complaining about how hilly it was. And for us, we just live in a super hilly area, so it wasn't horrible. Like they were just like rolling hills and they were like, don't get me wrong, a couple of them were definitely like challenging, but like we felt really strong on the bike overall. Yeah.
Biking in Virginia where we bike, it's just mountainous. So we're used to, literally climbs at pretty steep grades. So yeah, hitting the bike, I mean, the rolling bike and the elevation, it wasn't that it was nothing. It was just, it was super comfortable. I mean, we could push really hard on it.
Yeah. Like we're not obviously like pro bikers are amazing or anything like that. But honestly, I think we just felt so good because we've been so prepared with the way that we've been able to train here. And so I feel like we felt really well on the bike. Unfortunately at mile 30, I started feeling pretty horrible because I started my period. So that was really horrible. And it was like 6 days early. So I was on the bike. And my stomach and my legs were like not feeling all, and just like that feeling of like my first, I was like, there's no way. There's literally no way. But I just knew it. And then I went to the bathroom. And praise the Lord, like I've never seen this in a porta potty before. Someone came in clutch and put a bag of things in there. And so that was like the best ever because then I just didn't have to worry about anything. So that was so nice. And obviously like I was still not feeling it. So probably for the last like 20 miles at our second pit stop around then, whenever we stopped, I was just like, not feeling great. Thankfully, whenever we got back to transition from the bike to the run, there was like a medical there. So I was able to get some ibuprofen. That helped so much because I was definitely feeling rough. And he said he kind of like noticed me like just kind of like falling behind a little bit.
This isn't normal. I knew.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate, but I mean, it could have been worse. Obviously, that's not the most fun thing to go through, but we finished it. God definitely just gave me the strength. I mean, so much throughout that whole entire day.
Yeah, I had cramps too. At about a little bit before that, I guess. But mine was my quad. So yeah.
Such a funny way to put it.
Yeah, I know. Bike felt really, really good. Faster average for the first 30 miles that I've probably ever had.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're hitting a PR, fixing to get really our goal time on the bike. I mean, we get around that time. But then around my quad started cramping, and that's basically that was the determining factor for the rest of the race. Once it started in the left quad. So I had to be really careful on the bike after I finally got that worked out, because it wanted to go constantly. It was just constantly there. And I thought I was doing everything I could with fluids. I mean, had bottles on the bike, already had those 3 down. At a transition, filled up 2 of them, and I ended up drinking 5 water bottles worth on the bike and had between probably 4,000 milligrams of sodium between the 5.
We're trying to look into a sweat test because just seeing his outfits and like just seeing him in general, he's a really big sweater and he's also a really big salty sweater, I think. And so you can feel like you're getting in a ton of sodium and a lot of things, but whenever you're sweating so much and losing so much, if you're just like not even half as much, like, I mean, some people can lose up to like 1,000 milligrams of sodium per hour and some people even like more than that. And so really just being intentional and mindful with that. And like the thing is whenever it comes to these things is like, once it's too late, you can't really go back and fix that. So we tried everything, but I just felt so bad.
And then with the water being warm too, I probably sweat more during the swim than I had before. And yeah, once it started, I just couldn't get it to stop. So we had to take the bike kind of easy the last 20 miles or so. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I mean, we still finished the bike in a pretty good time, reasonable time for sure.
Okay, and going into the run?
Yeah, going into the run, literally got a mile in and quad started cramping again. I'm eating bananas and drinking what was the hydration drink? Mortal, is that what it was called?
Morton, yeah.
And so yeah,
Morton, yeah.
I think it's Mortal.
Yeah, there's a couple things.
Yeah.
It's the same, yeah.
So yeah, just drinking the Mortal, doing everything I knew to do to get the cramps to stop. Mile 4 is that's when it got real. So around a mile, like both my quads started cramping, but I was still able to kind of push. Mile 4, my left leg, the quad started cramping really bad. So I stopped to try to stretch it, to just try to get rid of it. And then my left hamstring started cramping too. So it was like that given, like I can't do anything because the quad and the hamstring are both wanting to just attack at the same time. And it's probably I've never had I guess a Charlie horse like that before. I mean, it was making my body shake. It was so intense. And I was yelling, and finally a guy came by and he had some salt tabs. And so he, took the tab and drink more water. My word. You would think I was so hydrated, but
I think that's a really cool thing about this community though, is like, I mean, he was around struggling. And I mean, like, came by. Every single person that came by, there's probably like 8 people. They're just like, hey, like, can I get anything? Do you need anything? Are you okay? Are you good? Do you need a medic? Do you need this? Do you need this? Like, everybody's just so nice. Like, everybody's the same mission to encourage each other, to push their bodies and to just be able to do awesome things. And people there are just, I mean, the people there are just so kind. And I think it's just so, so cool to be in a community like that. Yeah,
it absolutely was. It was cool. But yeah, the rest of the run was just, I mean, we're at mile 4. I'm sitting here thinking we have 9 more to go. At that point, it was just a matter of like, I'm just gonna do what we got to do to get through it, to finish it. So on the uphills, the hamstrings were cramping. On the downhills, the quads were cramping. And then my right Achilles, I don't know if it was the Achilles or the calf or what, but whatever cramped on my right leg caused my toe to curl up really aggressively. So that was another one. Yeah, it was at that point, it was just trying to finish. I knew I was going to finish, but it took a lot longer than what we wanted to, obviously.
It was a struggle because, so first off, on the course, it says it's going to be like 650 feet of elevation gain, which is like a good amount of elevation gain, as it is.
Decent amount.
And it was pretty hilly. And at the end of the course, I look at my Strava and it's over 1,000 feet of elevation gain.
I called it too. Like while we're on the run, I was like, babe, there's no way this is only 600 feet. I mean, we had on it.
It was rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, there's so many uphills, so many downhills. So on like the uphills, his hamstrings are cramping. On the downhills, his quads are cramping. And so we just ended up running and walking a lot of the race. But I'm honestly just so proud of him because the thing is it's kind of not as hard no matter what to finish a race. But it's really hard to finish a race whenever you aren't feeling good and you don't feel strong and you want to give up because your body isn't cooperating properly. There can be a lot of defeat. And so I'm just super proud of him for just continuing and persevering and enduring. And I'm thankful to the Lord for giving him that mindset and that discipline and just the capable body to be able to finish. Like, it could have been worse. I mean, as horrible as it was, like, it could have been worse. And so I'm thankful that we were able to cross that finish line and cross it together, which was super fun. So I know that he's disappointed because he had more in him, and I know that he has more in him for sure. But I also, like, our goal whenever we first set out to do this was to finish it. And we finished it and we did it together. And it's an awesome feat no matter how long it took us. And so I'm just super proud of him and super thankful that he pushed through even in the hard. So
yeah. Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
I have an itch. I'm not crying.
Post-race, I think we were just super thankful to be able to finish. His dad finished, I think, 7.5 hours. So our goal was for all of us to be able to stay together through the whole race. I had some people asking me how we did that on the bike. So we basically tried to keep ourselves at a good distance where we weren't in like the drafting zone, and then also like on and off just right next to each other. Because the thing is when you're in a crowded race like that, I mean, there's times where like you are behind each other or beside each other. And we tried to keep a pretty good distance every so often, just keeping each other in eyes distance. So that's how we did that and tried to stay together pretty much the whole time. Like there was a few times where like I couldn't see him or he couldn't see me, but we caught up to each other eventually. And on the bike, like all of us sort of ish stayed together. On the run, his dad stayed with us, I think to mile like 6 it was, probably around like 5 miles. And then he was cramping. And so with him, he has a different situation. It's like, really, if he stops, he'll start cramping. So he just kind of had to keep, I think, in 7.5 hours. And his dad is 51 years old. He absolutely crushed it. Like it was so cool to see them do it. Yeah. Because like him.
He did a great job.
Yeah. He did awesome. Trevor and his dad came and watched me do my 70.3 last year. And the atmosphere of Ironman 70.3 is just so fun. It's so cool.
It's really addicting. I mean, it for sure.
Yeah. So they wanted to do, so they did it with me this year. And I will actually say, now that we're thinking about it, I did Des Moines, Iowa, 2023. It was put on really, really well. The spectating area was really great. There was a lot of people cheering you. Since it was in a really central area, you had people cheering you for the majority of the time. That's not how it was for this race. Like this race was pretty lonely. Thankfully, there was aid stations every mile. Like they did a great job with that. They did a great job with race support. However, just since it wasn't as in central of an area and a lot of the roads were shut down, like his mom had a really, really hard time finding us, a really hard time getting us. The trackers weren't working great. And so it was not as easy and not as friendly of a spectator race. Des Moines, Iowa was an awesome spectator race. Like I got to see a ton. And I would just say, like, I think that race as far as just being able to be more part of the community, like you definitely felt the vibes and the energy more from Des Moines than you did in Louisville personally.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. There were still a lot of local spectators, I think, on the bike. Not so much on the run course.
The run was rough, which is like the hardest, one of the hardest of the race. You get to the end and you're like feeling like trash, and you would love to have that support. But the bike was fun because a lot of people would be like outside of their houses, or if we came through, a lot of people would be like having signs. It was so cute. These like little old people out on their porch watching us. It was so cute. But yeah, God just got us through that race so much. And I think it was just so cool. Like another thing was the weather, how God showed up through the weather. We were concerned, like genuinely, we were concerned for our health. Like it was going to be 95 degrees with like 105 degree heat index.
Yeah. The days before it, even that hot, but they were still hot.
So hot.
And
we would just be like standing there, like
sitting
sweating.
Standing in the Ironman Village to listen to the dude. Yeah, the dude giving the pre-spiel about everything or whatever. Like, dude sitting there talking, runs Ironmans. Like, this is an end fit. This is an end fit. What does that mean? This is an end shape individual that is just up on a stage talking to us, and like halfway through his speech he asked for a chair to sit down and he thinks he's gonna pass out.
Yeah, it was very, very hot.
And it wasn't even as hot that day as it was supposed to be race day. So we're sitting here thinking, this is like, what is gonna happen here? Yeah, we didn't know how that was gonna be accomplished. Yeah, we were very, very worried, but God came through pretty much. I mean, the swim, all of the bike, and like I'd say 50% of the run was like, it was overcast.
It was, and like, definitely not. I don't know what the weather was because I never ended up checking it. I don't know what it was, but it was way better than we thought it was going to be. It was definitely humid and it was definitely hot. Don't get me wrong, because you're going to see other race reports of people being like, this was the hottest race I've ever done. It was so hot, but I think we were so fearful of what it was going to be that we were like, this is great. This is amazing.
Yeah,
Since it had been so hot the last couple of days, we were like, oh my goodness. So that's just kind of like a recap of the race. And I had some people ask us some questions on Instagram. So we are going to go through some of those questions. Okay, so first thing I want to go over is Trevor's blood sugar management. Trevor's a type 1 diabetic. Someone is doing a 70.3 next month. How did you manage your blood sugars while you were on the course?
I think the first thing when it comes to managing your blood sugars on the course is figuring out patterns, habits, and systems during training before the course. So like you have to intentionally get your blood sugar in a controlled environment per se. And so like the best way to do that is to do it first thing in the morning when you have no insulin on board and then no glucose really working in your system. So that way your blood sugar should theoretically first thing in the morning be stable, and you can see how your body reacts then when your heart rate gets to certain levels. And so for me, earlier in the year we did half marathon. So I knew what my blood sugar would do, and I knew how to prepare for that whenever I could set up in the morning for nothing but running. The trick with the Ironman is you had the swim and the bike before the run. And what made that tricky is that on the bike, my blood sugar, if I ate the same amount of glucose on the bike that I would on a run, my blood sugar would go high and skyrocket. And so I had to actually end up even dosing a little bit on the bike. What's tricky about that is now I have insulin on board, and when you transition from the bike to the run, and then I burn more glucose whenever I'm running. And so then I tank because I have the insulin on board. And so you have to figure out, okay, like what is the system? How do I need to set myself up to be successful? I mean, you have to practice before the actual race, obviously.
So basically reenact race day, like get up early, he figured out what breakfast for him really well, what made his blood sugars level out before the race, and he practiced that beforehand, so then he could imitate that perfectly on race day. Get up early, get the food in, test out different things, and get a workout in and see how your body reacts to that.
Yeah, so like I had protein first thing in the morning to help keep a blood sugar stabilized. Right before the swim, I had a gel and a rice cake to try to spike my blood sugar. When I got off the bike, when I got off the swim, was starting to tank, and so I ate a honey stinger waffle thingy, my bob. I don't know what those are. Took another gel, got on the bike. Obviously had carb drink on my bike and things like that. Dosed early on in the bike, that way the insulin on board had time to process before the end of the bike, and then made sure to pause my basal 30 minutes before the bike was over, so that way I could go into the run and not immediately tank whenever we got started. So that's just some of the key things I did to make sure my blood sugar was good.
One thing I'll also mention is, if you guys are wondering, so for him, his phone is his PDM. That's how he gives himself insulin. At the swim start, they have something that's called a glasses table. And if there's anything you need at the end of the swim, they will put it on that table, put it in a bag, label you, put your name on it, and bring it right to the end of the swim. So you'll be able to pick that up right whenever you get out of the water. So he was able to have that there, which was great. And there was a little mishap with it, but that was kind of our bad. We didn't know the table was at, and a volunteer was absolutely there. So we were in transition. We were like, where's the table? And it was actually by the exit of the swim, right whenever you got out. And he like booked it over there for us, like sprinted over there and got it and came back. And like he was so helpful. He was so great. So the volunteers are awesome there. They have things if you have like a phone or something like that you need for the race. So I'm laughing at this because someone said, did you just want to fall over on the ground to give up at any point?
I did legitimately fall over on the ground, and I didn't want to give up. My thought was more, am I going to be able to finish this? Just because of how bad my legs were cramping. That was more so the thought. It's not because I wanted to, that my desire was not to. As a matter of fact, I looked at my dad looked at me at one point in the most sincere and loving way possible. He just said, "Bud, it might be better to live to fight another day." And I told him, I don't care if I have to roll across the finish line, I'm finishing this race. I legitimately fell.
Yeah. So yes and no. So any bloating or stomach issues for eating a lot of carbs, one of the things about triathlons is the fourth discipline is nutrition. Just like you have to train your body, you have to train your stomach and your gut to be able to intake that amount of carbs. So any race strategy, any nutrition race strategy that we're doing, we are practicing that whenever we are fueling and doing our workouts. So we are eating as many carbs as we would in the race on the bike whenever we're training. As a diabetic, he wanted to share how many carbs he ended up having.
Oh, on the bike, I had somewhere around 340 grams of carbs on the bike.
So like you can do it. With nutrition, you just have to train your gut and your stomach just like you would your body for the actual race. This is a really great question. How do you motivate yourself to train consistently, especially on the days that you'd rather not?
I don't know if someone said it before you, but I just remember hearing it from her, funny enough, but discipline picks up where motivation fails. Sometimes you literally just have to get out, like you just have to do it. Like you just have to do it. You have to get out there and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just always rely on motivation because there's days where you're not going to be motivated. And I think it's helpful to have people that keep each other accountable. Have a friend, have your partner, have someone do it with you who's going to be able to keep you accountable. Set a goal. Like signing up for a race is going to motivate you. When you're putting money in it, when you're telling people, yeah, I signed up for this race, like you're going to do it. And genuinely, like on the days when I don't want to show up, just remembering that I made a commitment. And when I make a commitment to myself, I want to keep that commitment, and keeping my word to myself is important because it's really honoring like what the Lord has called me to do. And I want to take care of the body that he's given me and also keep my word to the Lord. If I can't keep my word to myself, like why would I keep my word to other people? And so really making sure that the things that you say you're going to do are really important and you shouldn't take that lightly. And so showing up on the days that you don't want to do, remind me that I'm committed to what I say I'm going to do and committed to the Lord, and being able to rely on the Lord for strength and motivation. Like whenever you don't want to show up, God will give you the strength and God will give you just that endurance that you need to be able to show up, which is just such a blessing as a believer to be able to rely on a powerful God like that. So that's definitely, I think, something that gets both of us through for sure.
Well said.
What do you think is the most challenging thing about the race?
The training.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah, that's good.
I think the training was the worst part about the race.
Yeah, the race is where you get to have all the fun and just go out there and
the
have
race
fun.
is a blast.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've been doing all this training, by yourself for hours. And it's like, now you get to go to the race and there's 1,000 people around you doing it. Yeah. I mean, it's just the race is just fun.
So what do you feel like is the hardest part of T1 and T2? Transition 1 and transition 2?
Wet socks for transition 1.
Like putting your socks on.
Yeah, I cut the swim with feet. Trying to put on some tight compression socks is difficult. I don't know if there's a solution out there for that or not. And then just like kind of catching your breath, like the adrenaline is there to help, but it also like makes your heart rate kind of spike. So just taking a minute, I think taking a deep breath helps a lot. A
lot of people get their heart rate up way too high and expend way too much energy going in the middle of from the swim to the bike because they are like so excited to get out of the swim and they sprint over there, and you can really put out a lot more energy than you need to. So make sure you're catching your breath as you're getting out of the water. I think sometimes, just the transition from like being wet and getting on the bike can be a struggle. And then as far as the run, I think going from the bike to the run, I think sometimes just the way your legs feel and like the way they feel jello and like you're trying to put on your running shoes and just kind of getting your stuff together. Also just like the excitement of like, this is my last leg. So honestly, I feel like things that make them efficient. One, I got these little shoelaces on my shoes that are like elastic shoelaces. I don't have to tie my shoelaces. They're elastic shoelaces. They self-tie. That has literally saved me so much time. That helped a lot. Practicing your transitions, like just getting in a routine of practicing, putting them in an order that makes sense. When you are at your transition table and you have all your things set out, put it in a thing that actually makes sense. Like don't just throw it all out there. Like put it in order where you can be at. And again, practice that beforehand.
Hardest part was definitely the run. The main reason being because of all the cramping, but it would have been the hardest part for me either way. I'm not really built to be a runner. I have huge quads and hamstrings and anywhere from average to non-existent calves. So I'm like,
what would you call my calves then? Because that's just embarrassing. Your calves are way better than mine.
Yeah, but you're like slim and fit. I'm short and compact.
Okay, whatever.
So yeah, running is just not my gifting. I have to work really hard at it to be able to do it. So yeah, running is the hardest part for me, and it's after everything, so it just kind of makes sense too. But
I think usually the run would be the hardest part for me, but honestly, the swim was just a challenge. Like with me not being able to see out my goggles, that was really, really hard. And I honestly ran into so many people, and that was such a struggle. I feel like if I would have been able to see through my goggles, I would have like not hit so many people, to be honest. So yeah, this one was definitely a struggle for me. But honestly, the bike was actually pretty rough too because I was not feeling great near the end. It's all a challenge. Yeah, it's all a challenge for the wrong reason. Like it's not because of my own physical ability that it was a challenge, I guess. So I don't know.
Right.
how to recover properly after this kind of race. One thing I will say with the difference between last year and this year is I had my nutrition down so much more this year. The way I felt after this race, it was insane. I had my nutrition so much more down. I think that played a big role because I was not near as sore as I was last year because I didn't intake near as much nutrition leading up to race day or race day itself. So I know that played a big role. So nutrition leading up to the race on race day is really important, really helpful. Compression sleeves are amazing. Seriously, we have some compression sleeves.
They do shockingly help a lot.
They are worth it. I know they're expensive, but I will tell you, like, they are amazing. I will have a really hard workout. My legs would be so sore. I will do a 30-minute session in them and they feel so good. So that is really good. I mean, making sure you're getting in good levels of protein. That's probably a couple really good to recover after the race. How about you? Do you have any tips?
I wasn't too incredibly in pain after the race too. And
Which I was annoyed with because last year I literally could not walk after my race. And then for him and his dad to be like, we're fine. Were they actually fine? I don't know. But I was annoyed either way.
I was hurting immediately after the race.
Yeah.
But like the next day, I really didn't feel too bad. The only places I was really sore was where I was cramping.
Yeah. Someone asked, how long did we train for the race? This one's kind of interesting. So we had a race in March. So he did a half marathon. I did a marathon in March. And that set us up for a pretty good running base. And so we just kind of had to continue building that. So that was March 15th. And then we just kind of started biking some, swimming more. June 14th, he did a sprint triathlon. I did an Olympic triathlon. So then that was kind of like a good middle distance for us in August. So pretty much from March to August, we really trained hardcore towards the triathlon. But then also having that running base beforehand really helped us train for the triathlon, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of the answer for that. Did we stay together through the entire race? Pretty much the entire race. The swim is impossible to stay together. I was not even worried about that. I was not doing that. The bike, like I said, we kind of stayed at a distance to not get in trouble drafting or anything like that. And then the run, we just stayed side by side the whole time. Well, what time did you have to wake up? Yeah, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. wake up call. The highs and lows. I think for both of us, the highs was getting out of the swim for sure. That was a high.
Oh, that was such a huge high. Yeah. I think the low for me was the first cramp on the bike. I had to get off the bike. It kind of knocked me off the bike. I fell off into the grass, and I was so frustrated I was so frustrated because I felt so good. Like I was ready to really push it. And going back I think it was a descent. I mean, it was almost downhill the whole way back. Oh, I was so ready to fly, and not being able to was a bummer. So that was a pretty big low. And then once it didn't stop, and then when I dismounted the bike going into T2, I also started cramping again, and that's whenever I knew. I was like, this is going to be a long run.
Yeah, and I think it just like for me, just made me sad that he was having to go through that because honestly, like I was feeling pretty good, and so I just felt bad for him. Kind of made me sad, but I mean, overall, like I think it was just such a great race, and we had so much fun together. So I don't feel like we had like these horrible moments. It was it's just a hard race, but like it's also so fun to be able to do.
It was a lot of fun.
Who won?
What a question. That's a great question. Really, that's a great question. Do you want to share? It's okay. I'll share. Don't worry about it. I beat her by 2 seconds.
We literally crossed the finish line at the exact same time. And the announcer goes, and he beat her by 2 seconds. And I was like, how?
There's no way. There's legitimately no way that there would have been 2 seconds of time between us. Like, there's no way 2 seconds of time between us. It was crazy. Like, I would have believed it more if it was like half a second or like a second. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I did win.
The last question is what got you through it? I would say 2 things. Genuinely, like just having each other, being able to keep each other accountable throughout the race and just like encouraging each other, I think was probably super helpful. That was one thing for me. And then genuinely, like the Lord I knew was by my side the whole entire time. I knew that any moment I just had a low, I was able to turn to him. Any moment, any of the highs, I was able to turn to him and praise to him. And that just gives me joy throughout the whole race. So I mean, just the Lord is such an amazing comforter. And then just being able to have my best friend by my side, I think it was just like, it was seriously just so fun being able to do it with him. So
amen to that.
That's all you want to add.
Yeah, amen to that. What was the question? I can't remember the question. What got you through the race?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah. Okay, what got you through the race?
Oh, and Raw Nutrition, code Hannah Roy Fit. It's the best nutrition.
Shameless plug.
I know, we did both use it for the whole race, and like his dad too, and we all love it, so it's great.
It's
and
really
affordable for what it is. Like it is the most
affordable
nutritional supplement that you'll find for endurance racing out there. So
and it's good.
Yeah. Anyways, we are just so thankful to the Lord for allowing us, just so many factors that go into this race for allowing us to complete it. Super fun that we got to do it together. It was definitely such a blessing and something that I'll never forget and super fun. So if you guys have any more questions about Louisville, if you guys have any more questions about 70.3, about his diabetes specifically, we are more than happy to answer those questions. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to shine bright for Jesus, and I'll see you guys next week.